maybe it's time to move on to Professor Lawrie Moloney, who helped edit the book, played a big part in helping get the book out. And he's also in COVID-free Melbourne.
Thanks very much, Paul. I'm talking to you from the heart of Tigerland and also, of course, Wurundjeri country. Like Jack and Jack Stewart, Michael Lay, I'd like to start in 1965 when 28 young men fronted up at Corpus Christi College to begin their journey towards the Catholic priesthood. In the years that followed, we'd get to know each other pretty well. But I quickly became aware of a gentle, muscle-bound bloke amongst us and of his huge generosity of spirit. I remember when I did well in a philosophy exam in our second year, Michael sought me out to congratulate me. He was that sort of guy who just genuinely rejoiced in the achievements of others. And I was sad that he didn't return at the beginning of our third year. He would have made a fantastic priest. But I also know that celibacy and the priesthood would just never have contained him. So skip to 1975, we're at Morning Star, the old Franciscan seminary, the first of a number of reunions of the year of 65. And again, my memories of Michael are of a young man who continues to be a picture of generosity and this energetic kind of optimism that surrounded him. 1981, it's a wet afternoon, we're back at Werribee and we're gathered to mourn the loss of a year mate, Peter Hart. When Peter left the seminary, the only work he could get after years of study was a labouring job. It was a common thing in those days. On a Friday evening before the start of a long weekend, Peter and his mates are rushing to finish a job and a heavy object overbalances and kills Peter, who's working one floor below. Michael seeks me out. "How's life, Mole? You're jumping out of your skin?" Typical, I think. That stage I wasn't jumping anywhere, but I couldn't tell Michael. But something of his sheer enthusiasm, that continued enthusiasm, rubs off on me. And in a good way, Michael gives me a kick in the pants. This is back in 81. 1995, I'm teaching in Alice Springs. I'm working with Indigenous students. I've really got not much idea of what I'm doing. I find a number for Michael and I call him and we talk of old times. And Michael tells me he hasn't thought of Werribee much for a long time, but the connection between us is instant. And for all that narrowness of the Werribee curriculum that some of us here know much about, something special happened between all of us on those windy plains down just outside of Melbourne. 2016, and it's another 1965 reunion at Jack Ward's place at Yarra Valley. And I get just a glimpse of the profound development that's taken place in Michael. We go for long walks, and Michael's playing with the idea that propelled him into the exploration of Altura. I've been an atheist for years and I'm not too engaged by the Catholic stuff, but I'm starting to get a glimpse through Michael's eyes of an Indigenous worldview that I wish I knew more about. 2018, we're back at Yarra Valley. Michael's been diagnosed with MND and I've heard his voice has changed and I'm a bit anxious about meeting him again. But Michael, in his true fashion, puts me at ease immediately. He's talking of Teilhard de Chardin and the cosmic Christ and Indigenous spirituality. And I'm intrigued and a bit skeptical. Part of me would love to emulate Teilhard. Part of me thinks, was this guy just a lunatic? I don't know. We say our goodbyes and I'm feeling a bit unsettled. 2019, I'm in Darwin and I'm keen for Michael to meet my wife, Banu, who's been working with Indigenous students for the past 10 years. So we meet up at the Roma bar. We're joined by Costo. Michael has physically deteriorated, but he's insisted on driving himself to the Roma bar. Magella turns up. She's not impressed that Michael has driven himself, but I'm sure she knows her dad will play on with all that's in him right up till that final siren. And Michael again say our goodbyes. that stage, I've got no idea that Michael Pera is soon to draw me into a final relationship with Mick, as for months I pore over the wonderful words that he's written. So I'm pleased to say, despite the exhortations we've had from two of our previous speakers, that Michael's words have now escaped the constraints of a PhD thesis, because I know as an academic that practically nobody would ever read them. I really hope these words now spread out throughout the length and breadth of this land that Michael loved. And I feel good that I had a small part in tidying up a few of the rough edges. Thanks.